Hello, my amazing friends! Today, I want you to listen carefully, because this story might change the way you think, speak, and feel about English itself. It's not just a story about a man. It's a story about imagination, courage, and destiny. A story about the power of words. He is the finest psychologist the world has ever known, even though he never studied psychology. He understood the human heart better than anyone else. You already know his name. William Shakespeare. You've probably heard of Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Macbeth, and Othello. But these are not just plays. They are mirrors of life, of love, power, jealousy, betrayal, ambition, and hope. Everything that makes us human, Shakespeare captured in his words. And here's the truth. The English language itself would not be the same without him. Many of the words and phrases you use today came straight from his brilliant mind. But how did he become William Shakespeare, the greatest writer in history? He wasn't rich. He didn't study at a famous university. He was just a curious boy from a small town. So if you're learning English, if you sometimes struggle to express yourself, this story is for you. Because Shakespeare himself started as an ordinary boy, just like you. It was a cold April morning in 1564 in a quiet English town called Stratford-upon-Avon. A baby boy was born to John and Mary Shakespeare. They held him close, never imagining that their little son would one day change the world. Stratford was small, narrow streets, wooden houses, and a calm river running through. Life was simple. People worked as farmers, traders, and craftsmen. William's father, John, made fine leather gloves. His mother, Mary, came from a family of farmers, kind, strong, and full of love. William was the third of 8 children. The house was always alive with laughter and noise. But William was different. He was curious. He observed everything. He listened to how people spoke, how they laughed, and how they cried. He didn't know it yet, but this curiosity would one day make him the greatest storyteller of all time. In those days, there was no television, no internet, no phone. People entertained themselves with stories and plays. Sometimes traveling actors came to town and performed in the open air. Young William would stand among the crowd, eyes wide with wonder. He was fascinated. Each story made his imagination stronger. At 7, he started school, a small room with wooden benches and a strict teacher. He studied Latin, history, poetry, and literature. He read about heroes from ancient Greece and Rome. Writers like Ovid and Virgil opened his heart to new worlds of beauty and emotion. But William wasn't only a bookworm. He loved walking by the river, listening to the birds, playing with his friends. He lived fully, and inside him the fire of creativity was growing. Then life changed. His father's business began to fail. Money became scarce. There were nights when his family didn't know how to survive. William saw the stress in his father's eyes and the worry in his mother's voice. He learned something powerful, that life can change at any moment. That truth would stay with him forever, echoing through every tragedy and comedy he would write. Even as a child, he began creating poems, acting out scenes, entertaining friends. No one in Stratford-upon-Avon could imagine that this curious boy would one day write the most famous words in the English language. By 18, William was no longer a boy. He fell in love, deeply, passionately, with a woman named Anne Hathaway. She was smart, graceful, and 8 years older than him. Their love broke the rules of their time. When Anne became pregnant, society judged them harshly. So they married quickly in November 1582. William became a husband before turning 19. And within 3 years, he was a father of 3, a daughter, Susanna, and twins, Hamnet and Judith. But life was hard. He had mouths to feed and no stable job. He didn't want to make gloves like his father. He wanted something more, to tell stories that would move hearts. And then, he disappeared. Between 1585 and 1592, history is silent. No one knows exactly what he did. Some say he became a teacher. Others say he joined a traveling theater company. Some even say he got into trouble and had to run away. But one thing is certain. When he reappeared in 1592, he was in London, ready to change the world. London was alive, full of music, laughter, and ambition. Theaters were booming. Actors, poets, and playwrights competed for fame. Into this world walked a young man from Stratford, poor, unknown, and full of dreams. He began as an actor, learning how people move, how they speak, how they feel. He studied everything, and soon he began to write his own plays. At first they were simple, meant to make people laugh. But there was something in his words, something powerful. His plays made people feel. By 1592, he was gaining attention. A jealous writer mocked him, calling him an upstart crow, a nobody pretending to be great. But Shakespeare didn't let it stop him. He worked harder. He wrote more. He turned rejection into fuel. Then tragedy struck London, the plague. Theaters closed. Thousands died. But Shakespeare used this dark time to create beauty. He wrote poetry, Venus and Adonis, The Rape of Lucrece. Even the Queen admired his work. When the theaters reopened, he returned stronger than ever, joining the Lord Chamberlain's Men, the most famous acting company of its time. From that moment, his rise was unstoppable. In 1599, Shakespeare and his friends built something extraordinary, the Globe Theater. A round wooden stage open to the sky, filled with laughter, tears, and thousands of people. This was his kingdom, the Globe, the home of his dreams. Here he wrote masterpieces that would outlive him: Romeo and Juliet, Love and Fate; Hamlet, Doubt and Destiny; Macbeth, Ambition and Guilt; Othello, Jealousy and Trust. His words touched every soul, rich or poor, young or old. He wasn't just writing plays. He was writing life itself, and success followed. He became rich, owned shares in the Globe, and bought a beautiful house in Stratford called New Place. But he never forgot his roots, the boy from a small town who dreamed with words. In 1603, Queen Elizabeth died. Her successor, King James I, loved Shakespeare's plays so much that he made his company the King's Men, the official royal performers. Imagine that, a glovemaker's son performing for kings and queens. That's what dreams can do. Between 1603 and 1611, Shakespeare wrote his deepest, most powerful works: King Lear, Macbeth, The Tempest. They were darker, wiser, full of reflection. Because Shakespeare had lived, he had seen love, loss, betrayal, and glory. By 1613, he had achieved everything. He returned home to Stratford, to his peace, his family, and his memories. He would walk by the river, read by the fire, and tell stories to his daughters. He was content. But one evening in 1616, after a gathering with friends, he fell ill. A few days later, on April 23rd, the same date he was born, William Shakespeare passed away at the age of 52. He was buried in the church of his hometown, Stratford-upon-Avon. No grand monument, no golden tomb, just a simple grave marked with his own words. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones, even in death. His words had power. Centuries have passed, yet his voice still echoes through time. His plays are performed in every corner of the world. His words live in our conversations, our songs, and our hearts. To be or not to be. All the world's a stage. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. His words changed English forever. But more than that, they changed the way we understand ourselves. He taught us that love can be beautiful, yet tragic. That power can destroy. That dreams can transform lives. And that words can make us immortal. My amazing friends, maybe you have a dream too. To be a writer, a teacher, a creator, a leader. Maybe people doubt you. Maybe life feels hard. But remember this: Shakespeare was once a small-town boy with no money, no fame, and no plan. He had only one thing, a dream, and that dream changed the world. So don't let fear stop you. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now, work hard. Believe in your story, because your voice matters. Your words matter. Your dream matters. And one day, maybe your name will inspire others, just like William Shakespeare's. If this story touched your heart, give it a like so we know you felt its power. Comment below and share your dream. Let's inspire each other. And don't forget to subscribe to Fluent Story Time because here we don't just learn English, we learn life. This is Fluent Story Time, where words become power and stories shape your destiny.